What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Mayhem. It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode. Super excited to be back with you this week. Had an awesome week this past week, a very busy week. I would say productive week. This past week from the show. Last week, of course, was my first one back after taking about 2 weeks off to just kind of recover, recoup, and get back on track with everything. Just kind of get life in order, so to speak, as we kind of round out this last little corner of the year. So was excited to be back last week. Super excited to be back with you again this week. But I will say last week, since we last saw each other, let's see, that Friday morning. So Friday night, I was on Studio Jake's pre-Halloween show. We talked about Halloween films and recommendations that we would make. Not necessarily Halloween, but, anyhow, spooky or thriller or whatnot that we would recommend or suggest. I was on there with Real Jester Bell and Warrior Woman on Jacob Airy, who's been on the show. It was on his channel. And we had an excellent discussion. I had 3, I thought, pretty good films, but then I heard everybody else's, and they put me to shame. They had some really great suggestions. Some of them were foreign films that just blew my mind when I heard the descriptions. So I have some films to watch. As a filmmaker and a film connoisseur, I have to watch them. I think I have to watch them. So I'm definitely going to be checking those out. Let's see. Saturday night, I was on, of course, third Railify show, Off the Rails, as per usual. But this time, not usual. We had a very special guest on, Christina Urso. She also goes by Radix Verum. And she, first of all, she came on and did an amazing job in just talking about her and life and current events and whatnot, but she came on and she promoted a documentary that she's doing about the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping hoax that went on. It's called Kidnap and Kill. K&K Film is what it is. It's at K&K Film on X, or of course she is at not Radix Verum or something like that. But anyways, I don't even have it down in the show notes below, more than likely. So go over and check Third Railify's channel out. I will have a link over there to his Rumble channel. Go check out the stream from Saturday. It has everything in it. Everything in it that you could possibly need to find her. So I want you to watch the show. I want you to go follow her. And if you can support the documentary, why not? I mean, this is getting more information out there. And that's the whole point of us doing what we're doing. And then let's see. This past Monday night, I hosted our second ever Monday Night Mayhem. It went off really well. I had Third Railify on, Sean from Third Railify. Also had Daniel Clancy on for the first time. That was a special treat. Australian good friend of ours. He came on and did an amazing job. Robert Herr from the Washcast and Spin Cycle could not make it. He actually ended up having like a last minute delivery thing. He owns his own business, so he's operating like a business owner, in and out all the time at all hours of the night doing his thing. So more power to him. I did talk to him later, made sure he made it home safe and everything was good. So I was glad to hear that, but I missed him on the show for sure. But we did have comedian Chris Clark on, and he works with the Hodge twins. He does his own thing with comedy tours. He does some cruise ships he was talking about, and one of the recent projects he did was the Rob Schneider film, Daddy Daughter something. I'll put it up here. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's like the Daddy Daughter trip thing with Rob Schneider. I could have remembered it like 3 minutes ago. I don't know why. I just blanked on it. But he came on and we talked about like how comedy has changed and how you have to adapt and adjust to the different places and the different people that are in your audience and all kinds of stuff. Man, he was just absolutely awesome to have on the show. Couldn't see him because camera wasn't working. But, he films all day with the Hodge twins. So I'm sure by the time he gets home, he's like, I don't even want to look at a camera. So, so we had him on audio and that was more than enough. I mean, he was fantastic. Super thrilled to have him. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. I will say though, if you want to watch the full show, watch it on Rumble. We did have to cut over because, as we get a little spicier in what we talk about, got to stay off some of these certain platforms so we can have this thing called free speech, or, pretty close to free speech, I would say, on most things. But definitely had that going on. This week, be on Sean's third Railify Off the Rails, more than likely Saturday night. And then next Thursday, I'm pretty sure I can go ahead and announce this. Next Thursday at 7:30 p.m., I'm going to be on with the Front Porch Conservative. Brian over there, he invited me to come on, and I am super thrilled. I've been watching him more and more lately because of one of the folks that watches my show and watches Sean's and Robert's and all of us kind of in the clique there. Her name is Leah, and she is a super sweetheart, fantastic. And tagged us all in a post, just kind of thanking us for what we did, and that just that melted my heart. That she looks to us for news and information and some goofy entertainment, I'm sure. But that's kind of how I found the Front Porch Conservative, interacted with him a little bit, and so now we're going to do a show together. I'm really looking forward to that. He's a super sharp guy. He actually was in the chat for the Monday Night Mayhem, so it was awesome to see that kind of mutual support that we see in our community. So I appreciate that. And if you're a content creator and you're watching this, hey, I appreciate you watching my channel, and I hope that you will leave a comment below or hit me up on X or whatever and let me know so I can watch your channel, check you out. We got to support each other. Iron sharpens iron, as the good book says. All right. Well, that's enough kind of announcements and everything. So a proper welcome now, guys. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. It is Mayhem, as you can tell. You might have gotten it confused with Off the Rails because this has gotten off the rails right off the bat. But this is the Morning Mayhem. I'm super excited to have you here. If you are returning, welcome back. We love you and we're glad to see you. If you are a subscriber, you rock. If you're not a subscriber, hey, you're still cool in my book. But you know what? If you enjoy the show, consider subscribing. It couldn't hurt you anything. Doesn't cost you anything. And certainly helps the channel out a lot. Speaking of helping the channel out, there is a link down in the show notes below for Coffee Brand Coffee. Coffee company that I work with, and man, they have some amazing coffee. And right now they got their fall flavors rolled back out again, and this is when I load up, especially that spiced jack-o'-lantern one, I think is what it's called. Oh my god, me and the wife love that flavor. But he runs specials every now and then. Sometimes 5% is a good deal. Sometimes he runs a better deal on his site directly. But I will tell you this, if you use the link in the show notes below, it will guarantee you 5% on everything. And then if he's running a special on everything or almost everything, you'll get whatever the best deal is. So if he's running 10% or something like that on something but not on everything, you'll get the 10% on that. You'll get the 5% on the stuff it doesn't apply to. And if you use the link, regardless, it's going to help the channel out. I do get a portion of that back on my channel. It doesn't cost you any extra. And the prices are pretty much the same across the board as anybody else that has mail delivery coffee. I won't say any other brands, but you know what I'm talking about. But it is good. And I just got the bourbon flavored one. And before you crinkle your nose, it doesn't taste like bourbon. But there is a nice, I don't know, chocolatey, smoky kind of lightness to it or something. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. But maybe it's because I am a kind of a bourbon drinker. I like it, but it's so good. It's number 5, by the way. It's coffee number 5. He's got some numbered ones. That's number 5. Oh, so good. But anyways, you can go check them out. And of course, the merch shop is open. We announced that last week. My discount code for that week, I think, is over with now. But we've got everything in there is brand new. Obviously, we just launched it. And I hope you'll go check that out. The link for that is in the show notes below. Again, it's just another way to support me and support the channel and, grab you some neat stuff. Maybe you got any suggestions for something that you like to see in the store, let me know in the comment section down below. We'll kind of go from there. But guys, I'm not going to spend a super long time on the show. I do want to say one more thing kind of before we get into it. With all the storms and everything that's going on, do want to mention again, because I mentioned them before, is Samaritan's Purse. This is a nonprofit. It is a Christian organization. So if that turns you off, I hate that, because you don't have to be a Christian to appreciate what they're doing. You don't have to know the Lord. You don't have to have a personal life. I mean, these people have boots on the ground out there working with all these hurricane victims. Hurricane Helene at the time of this recording, and then Milton's coming through. So they'll be dispatched out to those areas as well. But these people have boots on the ground within hours, faster than most others. And they're not alone. There's other great organizations that are out there doing stuff. I do recommend, suggest, pray that if you've got a little something extra, which I know it's hard to have because of Bidenomics or Kamalanomics, whatever, if you've got anything and any way to give, I know this organization specifically I've dealt with before. I can vouch for them. Fantastic organization. They are out there doing the work that your federal government clearly isn't doing. And they're there for the victims of these hurricanes. And they do other natural disasters too, all around the world. But I got a link down in the show notes below. Like I say, you can give. It'll tell you more about their efforts. And of course, I actually have my cousins live in Valdosta. My cousins and my aunt live in Valdosta. So this is kind of personal to me. And they're down there doing the work down there as well, along with other disaster areas, as you see here. And there's just going to be more. And we need more help and more people. So this is definitely an organization that I highly, highly recommend. And again, it's not just because they're Christians, but that is how I met them and got introduced to them and their good works. And man, I just can't praise them enough, because when you hear people saying that they were on the ground within 12 hours of the hurricane passing through, that's pretty impressive. They were on the ground, chainsaws going, trucks moving trees, hauling people out, feeding them, clothing them, everything. So again, links in the show notes below. You can just click on it and check it out. You don't have to give. You can just see what all they're doing and see if maybe this is an organization you want to support. If not for this, later on, I'm sure they have year-round giving that you can donate to, and they use it toward whatever disaster. So again, just did want to mention that one more time, because I'm still kind of, for lack of a better term, pissed off at the lack of response by those that are supposed to be the most responsive. Our federal government, FEMA, these guys that are supposed to be in there getting stuff done. So I'm just so upset about that. I get phone calls every day working in insurance with, from agents across the state of Georgia, just telling me stories about, I talked to one the other day. There was a mobile home right down the road in their county, and it completely got wiped out. And there are families that go home every day from wherever they go during the day, I guess. But their home is a tent still, because FEMA hasn't showed up. Federal government hasn't showed up. And my insurance folks are out there every day writing checks, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Some of them don't have power or running water at their own homes, but they are finding ways to get done what they need to get done and get out there and cut these checks for these people so they can get their lives back together. So I don't want to get emotional about that, but man, I am so honored to be in the company of such great people. So great organization there. I hate that I don't want to mention the company that I work for, but there are some dirty folks out there, and I don't want to dox myself, obviously, because I have a family I have to take care of, and I don't want anything to happen to my company that I work for. But yeah, just know there's people out there working hard, and like I said, Samaritan's Purse is one, so definitely jet those guys out. All right, first story today is going to be a happy story. It's going to be a happy boy, just a happy boy. So I am a Halloween haunted house nut. Used to run a haunted house after I worked at it for years and years and years. Buy all kinds of like spooky stuff around the house. I've got a few things back here that were, I think most of the spooky stuff was given to me that's back there in the living room. Oh my goodness. When we decorate for Halloween, we decorate outside in the front yard, we decorate inside. Some of the stuff kind of stays around longer than it ought to on the inside, probably because, we're weird like that. But love the season of Halloween. Not as much as Christmas, but you know what? It's okay. So Halloween is the second most profitable holiday season of the entire year. And I know that because I worked in the business of party stores, and Halloween was our big thing. And that was a stat that we had to, that we learned along the way. Halloween is the second most profitable holiday season of the year, second only to Christmas. So anybody who is familiar with Spirit Halloween, well, guess what, guys? They are looking into going to Spirit Christmas. Not everywhere, to be fair. They're not all the stores are going to be Spirit Christmas, but they got a handful of them. But I thought it was really cool. One, great idea and profitable for them. two, I don't think a lot of people think of them for the holidays. And by holidays, I mean, the Christmas holidays, or other religious holidays here in that kind of year, at that time of year. They only think of them for spirit, but I know I've purchased stuff from them for Christmas before, lights and whatnot. So this is going to be good for them, but they'll get their vacant buildings and throw their signs up and do their thing. But we're going to check this out. This is from New York Post. Spirit Halloween is switching its stores to Spirit Christmas in these areas. Get into the holiday spirit Halloween, the festive haunt that pops up in vacant storefronts to sell costumes, accessories, and decor will soon transform into a winter wonderland. It becomes Spirit Christmas, just in time for the holidays. Festive chain retailer will sell inflatable decor, stocking stuffers, apparel, and gifts at select stores in the Northeast, from Mays Landing, New Jersey, to Erie, Pennsylvania. Hey, Pennsylvania. Where shoppers can step inside a life-size gingerbread village, mail a letter to the North Pole, and meet Santa Claus for a photo op. I like Spirit. Spirit Christmas is a new concept for us, and we're hopeful it will resonate with our customers, the company said in a statement to Fast Company. Our goal is to create a festive retail experience that captures the spirit of the season, much like we do for Halloween. And if you've never been inside of a Spirit Halloween store, it looks like this. It's awesome. It's got those little mats you can step on, and the animatronics do their thing. And I like going in there while they're open, normal hours, and check everything out. If there's something I absolutely can't live without, I'll get it. If there's some stuff I like, but I can't afford it, I keep my eye on it. Because day one after Halloween, so November 1st, I think they put everything in the store like 50% off. And then the next day, whatever's left's like 60% off or something like that, or 75. And then the next day, it's like ridiculous. I don't even think it lasts maybe 2 or 3 days after Halloween. They mark everything down to go. I've gotten lights and animatronics and some random decor stuff, I think, in there when it was like 75% off or something. They didn't have everything I wanted still, because most of that was gone, but there were a few things. I got some really, really good deals on some clown animatronics. Were really cool. Ended up buying those with my haunted house that I no longer run because I don't have time to. So that all got donated to another haunted house. It's right down the road from me, so I'd get to see it every year when I go. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I loved me some Spirit Halloween. As he says, Spirit Halloween started in 1983 as a pop-up in Castro Valley, California, before it was purchased in 1999 by Spencer Gifts. You guys know Spencer. That's a fun store to go into when you're underage, and your eyes get big real quick when you start noticing stuff. Who has owned the iconic storefronts ever since. They laughed at me and put me in a corner hidden behind an old restaurant. When I did $100,000 in 30 days, they were astounded, founder Joe Marver told the New York Times in a 2000 interview per USA Today. Now, Spirit Halloween operates more than 1,500 seasonal stores nationwide every single year. Spirit Christmas, however, will only be available in 10 locations, and it lists them there. Of course, none of them near me. Not yet, but you know what? Things can change. Let's see, the Mays Landing, New Jersey location will open its doors early on October 18th. While the rest are slated for early November per Fast Company. I should have pulled this up through Fast Company site. Spirit Halloween became the punchline of a Saturday Night Live skit last week, which elicited pushback from the holiday pop-up retailer. After one of the sketches poked fun at Spirit Halloween, the company posted a meme on X of a photoshopped costume package emblazoned. See, this is why it's tough for me to tell y'all I know what I'm talking about. I feel like I do, but some things I don't. I don't know what that means. I'm not grammatically smart. Anyways, it had the SNL 50 logo, the fake costume titled Irrelevant 50-Year-Old TV Show. Said it included dated references, unknown cast members, and shrinking ratings, which is a solid burn in my opinion, and accurate. We're great at raising things back from the dead, the company quipped. And I think that's it. And yeah, some of the comments are like, yeah, it makes sense. The surprise it didn't take it took so long and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it just makes sense from like a business perspective, right? You sell the Halloween stuff, it'll pop up in the vacant storefronts. And I remember looking into opening one, and that was the thing, is like, you got to find a vacant storefront, somebody who's closed their doors or not open, and they go in and negotiate and they say, hey, we're going to get a temporary lease on your location so we can get in, get out. But your building doesn't sit vacant. You make some money on it while you're still trying to sell it, and it's all well and good. So not a bad deal that they got worked up there. Just kind of a bummer because sometimes we don't have one that comes, and then sometimes it's just randomly in weird locations. So it's always different. It's always unique. But I like Old Spirit Halloween. I've never had any issues with them, and I think this is cool. I think this is smart, and I hope they extend that to more stores so we can get a Spirit Christmas near us. All right, next story I'm going to talk about is probably one of my least favorite Batmans. And I know I'm going to get a lot of crap in the comments on this one, but this comes from Bounding into Comics. Rumored David Zaslav suggested James Gunn make Robert Pattinson the main DCU Batman. All right, so guys, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I did not think The Batman was that great of a movie. Let's be honest. There's a couple of scenes that were pretty cool.
Vengeance.
But that was it for me. Maybe the car was all right. I mean, the car was pretty cool, I guess. You know, it wasn't Tim Burton, you know, Michael Keaton, Batman cool, but you know, whatever. Different strokes for different folks. I didn't love the movie, first of all. I did not love Robert Pattinson in that role. And it's not even like he people will say that, but like, I struggle to like some Leonardo DiCaprio stuff, and people always say, "Oh, well, you were the same age, and you were just jealous of him being like the heartthrob and this and that." I just every time I saw a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, I just saw Leonardo DiCaprio playing a role, kind of as Leonardo DiCaprio, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense. Wolf of Wall Street changed that. I really, really enjoyed Wolf of Wall Street, and Django Unchained was really good too. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of the stuff just seemed like he was the same kind of guy. And I know I'll get crap for that one too. But Robert Pattinson, there's no, Edward from the Twilight movies or whatever. I mean, good for him. And I think he's trying to step away from that. And he's been in plenty of other things. I haven't seen him in anything I've loved him in. I just really haven't. But I heard he was a great actor, and I went to go see The Batman, and I don't necessarily hate him as an actor. I don't love him as an actor, to be fair. I didn't like how he presented Batman. I didn't like the look. I didn't like the, as far as what's out of his hands is the script, the story, and everything. I didn't like that Batman had a riddle given to him and he solved it within 2 seconds. There wasn't a lot to lose on the line. And, there wasn't a lot of weight to this film. And so I didn't absolutely love it. And then I didn't love him in the casting. And there was a lot of drama and rumors and whatnot, from my understanding, in his casting, and him not going to the gym and getting in shape and beefing up and doing whatever to get in the role. I think there was a lot of controversy on that one. And so there was a lot of stuff that made me think this guy's not even taking this role seriously. He's got a good chin for it. I guess you can say that. And just went my thing. But here we go. We got, what's his name? Zaslav is like, hey, make him your main Batman. Let's continue reading. Again, if I didn't already say it, this is from Bounding into Comics. Batman has not been selected yet for the brave and the bold, which is begging the question, what's the holdup? The answer could be timing or delays brought on by recent writer and actor strikes, but there may be more going on behind the scenes. Let's see. As revealed at the founding, or rather rebranding, of DC Studios, although James Gunn may have a vision and freedom to carry it out as he sees fit, he reports to David Zaslav, the Warner Bros. Discovery CEO, has input then, and he most definitely has an opinion. As such, according to insider Jeff Schneider in his newsletter, Zaslav is recommending, if not demanding, that Gunn incorporate Robert Pattinson into the DCU as its official Dark Knight. Schneider asks, where does Robert Pattinson's Batman factor into this? And if he doesn't, then why the hell not? Again, didn't love it. I'm okay if he's not the Batman. And furthermore, I don't know how James Gunn is going to do. We've already seen like photos of Superman. They don't look great. And other rumors and the films that he's chosen to start with for the DC, it just doesn't sound great. So I don't know. All this could be dead on arrival to begin with anyway. I'm just saying. Let's see. It's a fair question. The Batman is still the most successful DC release of the last 2 years. That doesn't say much. And the Penguin's ratings prove the ongoing crime saga is popular and viable. From my understanding, I hadn't seen it. I was told to watch it. My buddy Dustin, I've talked about him before. He's told me it was pretty good, and he thinks that I would like it because it's more of like a gangstery kind of flick. And I love gangster movies. Horror flicks and gangster flicks are really my two favorite genres. So he said I would really, really like it. So I haven't really had time, but I plan on checking it out and, kind of seeing what's going on there. But I did hear that it was really good. In fact, I've heard Nerdrotic and other folks talk about it as well. It says Matt Reeves more than earns his keep, not to mention his seat at the table, the acting of 2 of his shows aside. Those of you who have been reading our coverage long enough might recall this was the rumored lineup for the new creative direction at DC and Hollywood about 5 years ago. Gunn and Reeves were going to take over with a big hand from J.J. Abrams. I don't understand why J.J. keeps getting brought into stuff. Everything. Dude got brought into Star Trek, an existing, an existing product, right? And then he went over and did Star Wars. And now he's going to come over and do DC. I mean, does J.J. Abrams do anything original anymore? And does he really do that good of a job with these brands that exist? I didn't love what he did with Star Wars. Now, to be fair, it wasn't all his fault, and I get that. But again, no. It says, obviously, one of those pieces didn't fit the puzzle and was left out, despite whatever progress exists for a Superman movie he is producing with Ta-Nehisi. I've heard it 1,000 times, mostly Ryan Kennel and Nerdrotic. But I can't say it now. Ta-Nehisi Coates, whatever. Whether it happens or not, Gunn is in charge of the Man of Steel now, and Zaslav wants to ditch the multiverse principle. Yeah. The latter stated there won't be multiple variants of Batman, and it's safe to assume that will go far for all the heroes before long. This could entail Pattinson being the first hero of the DCU, or that he will be brought into the fold somehow, someday, through some chicanery. Shikaka. It was rumored, I don't know. See, I'm not smart. I'm not a smart man, It was rumored some time ago this would happen, oddly enough, so he could be in the next Justice League. Everything is changing by the minute over in Burbank, but all the scoops and reports claim DCWBD are still constant on one thing. They want to compete with Marvel. It's not, Apparently, pooling resources to simplify their continuity is the strategy they feel is best. They may be able to compete with modern day Marvel, current Marvel. They're not going to be able to crank out anything like Marvel we saw the last 10, 12, whatever years. Not going to happen. That was lightning in a bottle. Even Marvel's not doing that anymore. You think these guys are going to do it with what they've announced that they're putting out? No. No. Bookmark this video. And in 2-3 years, when this stuff rolls out, send it to me. Let me know I'm wrong. I don't think I'm going to be. I think I'm fine. But if I'm wrong, hold me accountable. Let me know I'm wrong. I don't think I'm going to be. But yeah, that's pretty. Oh, one last line. I guess I should read it. However, they may be forgetting that they have been here before, and meddling too much made a mess, which didn't help the fortunes of either Batman or Superman on the big screen. Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of played fast and loose with these, with all of this, because you were trying to compete with Marvel. Marvel took their time and created that cinematic universe, building upon character, and really developing these characters, really developing these backgrounds, really pulling you into the story. And then DC went out there and tried to rush like Batman versus Superman and some other. So it's not. You didn't do it right. You just didn't do it right. So you guys have screwed up, kind of messed up with Batman brand and the Superman brand. Now you got to try to recover it, and you already had the Justice League up in there too. Gal Gadot with Wonder Woman, that's all messed up. I mean, like, what are you gonna do? And if you start from scratch, you got to be able to capture that same a lightning in a bottle that we had with some of those people, like with Henry Cavill as Superman. Oh my God, this new guy, how's he gonna do? He may do great, but it's like you already had it. I don't know. Anyways, I don't think these guys are going to do anything close to what Marvel has done in the past when they were such a big deal. They may be able to compete with modern day Marvel. But yeah, I'm also not super thrilled about Robert Pattinson, like at all, but especially as Batman. Did not love the Batman. Again, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I'm going to get a lot of hate. But it is what it is, and I say what I say. But let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the Batman, if you're watching the Penguin, because again, I feel like I would like the Penguin. And do you think this would be a good move for them or not? Bringing in Pattinson into James Gunn's DCU? I think they're just calling it DCU now. Let me know what you think. So the last story today that we're going to get into is a good fun political one. And it's kind of like a duh thing. We covered this before, but just to kind of go over it a little bit more in a slightly different way, let's talk about the Merchant of Death. You guys remember him? Yeah. So another New York Post, gullible Biden gave Putin back the Merchant of Death. Guess what? He's back doing the devil's work. I mean, who'd have thunk it? It's just like all these criminals that are being released because, why not? Then they go out and murder people again. It's almost like it's in their blood, and they haven't been, what do they say? They want resource officers and they want therapy and stuff because they want to like revitalize these people, or not revitalize, but some other word, and try to help them out, get them on the right path. But they're not doing it already, and they're letting them go. They're getting out and killing people and stuff. So they're dumb, basically. And by them, I mean pretty much the Democrat leadership. They're like, hey, did you kill that guy? Yeah. All right, it's been 3 hours. You go ahead and go, but don't do it again. Hey, don't cross our border. You'll get a free stay at a 4-star hotel in New York if you do. Don't do it. Free credit cards with money on it. Free room and board. We'll even fly you to places. I mean, yeah, but don't look at me. Look at me. Don't. Anyways, it blows my mind people are still wanting to vote for them. Again, if you're here and you're wanting to vote for these Democrats, I still love you, even if I don't understand you. and I definitely don't understand you. But back to this story. Gullible Biden gave Putin back the Merchant of Death. And that really is a mouthful right there and a lot to think about. Because that right there. Think about who he's kind of connected to that may be an issue coming up here very, very shortly. Anyways, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's go ahead and read him. There he is. Not a great guy. Kind of a bad dude. It says, so, I like how they just start that like that. The Merchant of Death is back to selling arms to the world's worst, and just 2 years after getting sprung from a U.S. prison in the Biden-Harris deal with Vladimir Putin to get WNBA star Brittany Griner. She got a deeper voice than I do. Brittany Griner released from a Russian internment camp. So much for the deal makers' promises that Victor Bout wouldn't go back to his deadly work. It's pretty clear that his independent cells largely serve Putin's agenda, with just enough deniability, which is why Vlad traded to get him back. And now the Wall Street Journal reports that he's just closed a $10 million deal to provide automatic weapons, including AK-47 rifles, to the Houthis, with a potential sale of anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles next up. And we just gave this dude back. Put him back out there to do this. Because some WNBA chick dude thing went to Russia with weed. It was, whatever it was. You don't fact check me on that. But it was a substance she wasn't allowed to have. We traded her, him, she, it, them, Papa, for the Merchant of Death.
Some people are dumb. Yeah, really.
I know I covered this before. This is not my first time covering it, reacting to the stupidity of this, but it's just that stupid. It catches me every time it comes out of my mouth. The Merchant of Death? For a stupid WNBA player who did something stupid. One would say it was not a good deal. And by one, I mean most everyone. All right, this, as the Yemen-based terror group has largely closed the Red Sea to commercial shipping by shooting at vessels there, with a clear exception for Chinese-flagged ones. And as they attack Israel and U.S. forces in the region too. Devil's work that Bout's work plainly enables. We slammed the Bout deal when Biden and Harris closed it, not because it was wrong to work for Griner's release after her kangaroo court conviction, but because the White House should have gotten more than a single American back if was going to release an was going to release an international war criminal who at one point was the world's second most wanted after Osama bin Laden. Isn't that nuts? God, just hearing it again. I mean, we still have prisoners over there. Like, I think military or like journalists or something like that they said were spies but weren't, and they're holding them. But we got WNBA player back. Woo woo. Letting Putin so readily win so big in these deals is a huge incentive for him to keep taking de facto hostages, always on trumped up criminal charges. Washington can't sit by passively waiting for Vlad to demand the release of more monsters in exchange for his innocent captives. A good start would be finding and freezing the Western accounts where the Russian tyrant has stashed some of his ill-gotten billions. And I guess that's it. So, what does this comment say? So, let's see if we have this right. Due to Griner, an American that would not stand for the national anthem, facts, and getting caught with dope in Russia and getting locked up, and we swap this arms dealer from our lockup for her. Now he goes and does a deal to sell arms to the Houthis, who have been firing missiles at our U.S. Navy. Thus, we fire our missiles in return to shoot them down at over $1 million a pop. Somehow, I am missing the logic in this deal. Yeah, man, me too. God, what? what were they thinking? I mean, you got the terrible Afghanistan withdrawal. You got the economy, right? You got this. I mean, what a terrible deal. Surely his vice president, who's now running for president, one would assume she would want to disavow this decision, separate herself from this, and deny this as a good move. I'm sure she's been very vocal about separating herself from some of his decisions.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Well, there you go. Not only is there nothing that she would change or do different, she was also part of the decision-making process. I wonder how involved she was in this one. Guys, that's who's running for president. And she's trying to convince you that the economy is better, that the border crossings have dropped, that they brought down they brought in and created significantly more manufacturing jobs and lower unemployment than they actually have. When you actually look at the numbers, and I will give a shout out to Don't Walk Run Productions, who does a fantastic job of breaking down the numbers and giving us the real numbers. Can't sing his praises enough. Amazing channel. I've suggested him so many times. Go check him out. But yeah, this just how can people vote for this woman? How can people vote for this woman? She's worked so hard to separate herself from Biden, but then clings to him at certain times, and then he speaks and reconnects the two up. I mean, it's just, who's running this campaign? The thing that is, the whole thing aggravates me, but then my mind is still blown because there are people walking around with Harris Waltz shirts on, Harris Waltz signs in their front yard, going on social media and blasting Trump supporters for being in a cult. But this is what they're voting for. Help me understand. I don't get it. Anyways, guys, that's the show. I love you. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget, this is the full show. We do take the segments and split them up, release them throughout the week, so you got little bite-sized pieces for folks that, don't have a long attention span, kind of like myself. But we got the little bite-sized pieces coming out throughout the week. We will be back next Friday for our full show. Between now and then, I'll probably be on Off the Rails Saturday night. And like I said, I will be on with the Front Porch Conservative next Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. Keep an eye on my socials down here. All these guys right here, specifically this one. I've gotten around 2,000 followers now, I think. About 2,000 followers, or just crossed 2,000 followers, somewhere in that ballpark. I can't remember right off. So really been growing in that department. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but I've only been on there for a couple of months. So, and I'm not very active. I'm not on there all the time, but yeah, been growing on Twitter. So check me out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. That is probably the first place you'll see any kind of announcements or any updates to my channel or anything like that. So when I do get the date, time, link, everything is 100% locked down for the Front Porch Conservative, I will be posting that for sure. Anywhere and everywhere I possibly can. What an amazing dude to be affiliated with, and I'm looking forward to being on the show. And of course, any other announcements that come out too. I know there's another show I'm working on that we're going to record next week. I don't want to get any info on that one quite yet because it's going to be a really heavy conversation. We got to get through it first and make sure we can, and then when we do, we're going to record it and we're going to put it out there, and I'll roll that information out, of course, as I have it as well. In the meantime, check out the folks I've got linked in the show notes below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Now, I was a single father for a while, but only on the weekends, though. Only on the weekends. Can't be around that little cock blocker every day. Hell no. Get out of here, man.